Hi guys, welcome back. Abi here again, and I would like to start a video by explaining the reason why I'm playing in Softcore SSF, and it's all because in the past week I had really huge internet connection problems, so I was lagging, having packet losses and stuff like that, and I could never make it past Kitava because of the DCs in hardcore. But as of today, my internet connection is working properly again, and I will probably start playing hardcore once I'm done with this build. But yeah, let's just jump into the build right away. And the build is a Blade Flurry Guardian. Definitely not a league starter. I would recommend highly not to play this as a league starter because it requires some specific items and some stuff that it's gonna be easier to get later on in the game rather than in the start of the league. But since we are like 2-3 weeks into the league now, it's definitely safe to play something like that. And since I'm doing it in SSF, it's gonna be even easier for people who play in trade league. But yeah, I want to start from the skill tree. Skill tree is nothing too special except for the fact that we have minion nodes in the ascendancy and some minion nodes in the skill tree. The reason being we are using the Scourge as a claw, and now I will explain why. The the thing is that I had in mind this build for a while, but when I saw the reworked ascendancy for Guardian, being Radiant Crusade and Unwavering Crusade for this league, I decided that this was the league to play this build, because now it's not only for Herald of Purity, but it's based around the general minions, which make the build even better. So basically what you want to do with the skill tree is take whatever skill you like to level. Me personally, I went with X plus Sunder up to like level 28, and level 28 I switched to Cyclone plus swords. I think, I don't remember exactly, but what you want to do is basically take this life here, these clusters here. I took Dex because I needed it, and I probably don't need it anymore, but I'm still keeping it for the moment because it gives accuracy. You take this life, take this life, take these AoE nodes, go for life, and shadow nodes. Once you're done with this part of the skill tree, you're gonna be at around like level 50, and that's when you really want to switch to Blade Flurry and Claws. What I did then, it's going for these claw nodes here, these claw nodes, and this life. And this skill tree is basically at around like level 60-ish. And what you want to do next is just get these AoE nodes right here, respect these AoE nodes into these minion nodes and take this life. And by the time you are here, you will be level 70, killed Kitava, and you can start using your Scourge Claw. The next points are definitely going to be Enduring Bond, which is a super good point, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then I took this Jewel Socket and this Jewel Socket. But next what I'm doing is going to be taking these life nodes here, this Jewel Socket, these life nodes, and the Spiritual Command. Now I will explain a couple things. This point is extremely good, not just because it boosts our damage, but because it gives also skill effect duration. And this point will be super good because except scaling damage from minion damage, we will also scale attack speed from minion attack speed, which combined with the Scourge will make the build insane. Basically, the build revolves around scaling your Blade Flurry damage with flat fizz, claw damage, and on top of that, minion damage. And once we get this node, we will scale it also on attack speed from the minions. Now, I will link 3 path of buildings of the build because it's one of my current setup, one of the setup that I want, which is gonna be like a level 95 skill tree with pretty good gear without buffs, and another one with buffs. The one with buffs, it's like 3 million Shaper DPS. The one without buffs, it's like 300k DPS in the hideout without doing anything, with no buffs and stuff. But yeah, getting back into the build by itself, let's talk about the claw. The claw is super good. I managed to find one from Chimera and I divined it to almost perfect, I think. It's pretty high rolls, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Once I found the claw, and I was lucky to drop this synthesis ring from a synthesis map, I decided, yeah, it's the moment to play the build. That's why I'm saying this build is definitely not a league starter, because this ring right here is pretty mandatory, because you really need the reduced mana reservation for Herald of Purity, and also the boost in damage from Herald of Purity. But let's talk about the gear itself first of all. We have a Bone Helmet because it's gonna increase our damage, since the Scourge makes minion damage increase your damage, so that 20% increased damage on the helmet means we deal 20% increased damage as well, which is basically a helmet with life resist and minion gem level. We have this amulet. On the amulet, what you want is basically life resist and stats to cover up for strength and dexterity, because we need both a lot of strength and a lot of dex. If you can get damage as well, it's super good. On the shield, what you're looking for is high life, high resist, high armor. If you want, you can play dual wield, but I highly recommend to play with a shield, because early on the build is pretty squishy. But later on it will be a lot more tanky, so you can maybe switch to dual wielding, which is probably what I'm going to do. On the other ring, what you want is basically like stat, life, resist. If you can get damage, that's even better. We need really high resist on the rings, actually, because this ring right here, the synthesis ring, provides nothing except pure damage. Boots, what you want on the boots is basically life, resist, movement speed if you can get it. These boots are not expensive. I just found random boots with can have multiple crafted mods from delving, so I multi-modded them. Belt, I think Stygian Vise is the best base. If not, a Rustic Sash would be good as well, because it gives increased global physical damage. But yeah, this is what I get, so this is what I'm working with. I got a Jewel Socket here with flat life, minion damage, and movement speed if you haven't taken damage, which basically never activates because I don't have evasion and I always get hit somehow. And gloves, it's basically life resist, what you're looking for, and dex or strength. If you can get life or accuracy on the helmet, that's good as well, because we will need a little bit of accuracy on the gear. Flasks, bleeding flask, lion's roar, diamond flask, quicksilver, and right now I will replace my onslaught flask for basalt for the fizz mitigation, because I have permanent onslaught right now because of the ascendancy. Now, the Ascendancy itself is super good. You want to get Radiant Crusade in normal lab. This will help you with the early game because you get plus 20 to all early res. And when you get your Golem, you will have 10% more damage always, since you have your Golem. As you can see from the buff bar, when I get my Golem out, you deal more damage. And when you get your Sentinels as well, you will also have a permanent onslaught, because you need 5 minions. With the Scourge, this is never going to be a problem, because you are going to get the Spectral Wolves as well, that you are going to spawn by killing, so you are having permanent onslaught, which means you don't need this flask. Now, Cruel Lab, you want to take Harmony of Purpose, so that you get Frenzy, Endurance, and Power Charger Generation, and take Unwavering Crusade for the damage, and Intimidate later on in Merciless Lab, because that's when you are getting your Scourge. Merciless Lab you can do at level 68, and the Scourge is level 70, so they basically go hand by hand, and that's what you want to do. So that's what the build is trying to accomplish. Scale your Blade Flurry damage with your minion damage, as well as having minions being like mid shield for you and help you. And that's the reason why on the helmet we have our Ice Golem and Herald of Purity. They get +2 to the level because of the helmet, and you want to link them to mid shield. So they will basically stay all 5 around you, protecting you. If something comes to hit you, you can just ignore them because the minions are gonna taunt them. And minions won't die, so you will always have onslaught, more damage and stuff like that, which is super good. And you will also have a permanent intimidate on every enemy because the sentinels they intimidate when they hit. And we also have Ancestral Protector for that single target. Not really because it does damage, but it's because it gives attack speed, so we can release our 6 stages of Blade Flurry faster and do a lot more damage. On the shield, we have Blood Rage, Berserk, and Precision. Now we have Berserk because our Blade Flurry links, since we are full fizz, are melee fizz, infused channeling, rage, pulverize, and brutality. Rage works wonders. Once you get it going and you get 50 stacks, it will deal a lot of damage. And when you are at that and when you get to the boss, you just press Berserk, and you're gonna kill it instantly, basically with the Blade Flurry. Since, well, everyone knows Blade Flurry is a boss killer skill. So this build itself does good while clearing and super good while bossing. I'm sorry I won't have any clip for the build because it's still early in the game, but yeah, I will provide clips in the next video. Then what we have in the boots is our mana reservation, which is War Banner for that accuracy and physical damage, Blood and Sand, Flesh and Stone for damage and defense, and we also have Enduring Cry. Enduring Cry, I was using it early on to get my endurance charges, but since I have endurance charge generation from Ascendancy, I will probably replace it with Convocation, so that when you're like in trouble, you can use it to recall your minions to you, and they will effectively become a mid shield for you. On our gloves, we have our cast when damage taken setup, which is a 4-link because we have cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, Punishment, and increased duration. Now, you can decide yourself what level you want the cast when damage taken. Me personally, I felt like that level 5 is fine because 800 damage is not too much, so that I have also level 8 Punishment. Now, Punishment is a curse that not a lot of people use, but it's super good in a build like this, because the way it works is that when you curse an enemy, the cursed enemy, if they attack you, you get 30% more damage in this case. 30% more is a huge boost in damage, also because it gives attack speed. Now, the thing that makes this curse really well in this setup is that basically, if you read it, you would think that first you need to get hit once so that you can curse the enemy from the cast when damage taken, and get hit a second time so that you get the buff. But that's not how it works. When you get hit and the cast when damage taken activates, you will also get the buff from the curse, because it's like the enemy hits you, so you're already getting the buff. The buff, it says, lasts 4 seconds, which is why this node right here is super good. Skill effect duration makes the buff last like 6 or 7 seconds with increased duration, which is insane. I love it. And once you get like for 7 seconds 30% more damage, it makes your Blade Flurry literally a 7-link for like those 7 seconds, which is insane. If you manage to get it activated on a boss fight, and you survive to the boss like slam or hit or whatever, then you can literally just punish the boss by deleting them instantly. And on our claw, we have our our movement setup, which is Whirling Blades, Fortify, and Faster Attacks. If you play with a shield, you can choose to use Shield Charge instead of Whirling Blades, but I'm playing with Whirling Blades because probably later on I will switch to Dual Wielding. Now, the reason why we have our movement set up in the claw is because faster attack supports the spectral wolves, which will then do a little bit more damage when they are out and dealing the damage. Now, what I'm going to do is that I will change this Enduring Cry with Convocation, as I said before, and not just for the defensive thing, but it's because when you use a minion skill, you get 20% more increased damage again. So it's even more damage on top of that. which right now I only activate half of this skill point because I don't have a minion skill to activate continuously. I can't just keep spamming my ice golem to get the skill out. So yeah, that's what I'm going to use convocation for most likely. I think a version of this build could be played as a necromancer as well, and I think the benefit of necromancer would be that it has more defense but less damage. I think Guardian has more damage but a little bit less defense because you don't have the Bone Aura, the plus level of gems, you don't get the offering, so you can't use Bone Offering for the block and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the build pretty much for the moment. What I'm looking for in the next levels is to change my chest with a Belly of the Beast, which I'm working on. I'm farming it in Belly of the Beast Act 9 right now. I hope I can get it pretty fast and try to 6-link it. I will look for better boots, a better belt, hopefully a better helmet or better gloves which have accuracy as well, and maybe a better shield. I will also look into change my flask into basalt, and that's gonna probably make the build much better and much smoother. Right now, except general mapping, I haven't done much, but so I don't really have any clip to show, but I will show them in the next video, hopefully once I get some Uber Atziri, maybe Uber Elder, Guardian fight, Shaper fight. I think this build works really well so far. Most of the times while mapping I only have to tap Blade Flurry once, just like this, which is more than enough to explode packs, and usually rare mobs they take like 2 hits, nothing too special. So yeah, build is looking good. I'm having so much fun playing it, and I hope you guys are interested in this build. And if you have any type of questions, since I know the build is kind of a bit more specific and not really user friendly, I will be willing to answer to everything. So just let me know in the comments. Thank you guys and have a nice day. Bye.